So we are up to Chapter 13 on current liabilities and contingencies. And you can see that so far we've really been in the asset and contra asset account section of the balance sheet. And now we are moving over to our liability section, current in this chapter, long-term in the next chapter, and then we round out the course in the stockholders' equity section. So sometimes with each chapter, I used to do this with all of them, but I would use, I don't know if anybody ever watches the Tour de France, but they give sort of a, this is what you're going to be riding today. And so, you get some flat stuff, and then, it's going to be kind of rough when you get to the mountains and everything. I kind of do the same thing with the chapter. So the first part of the chapter is a fairly flat stage. It's just accounts payable, notes payable, current maturity of long-term debt, nothing that's, too bad. Short-term obligations expected to be refinanced. You have to think about that a little bit, but it's like a small hill. And then we're going to kind of review a lot of the, very quickly we'll review a lot of the basic current liabilities, and that's pretty easy writing. And then we get to the employer-related liabilities and compensated absences, and that's like a mountain stage, but it's a nice day out. It's not raining, it's okay, not too slippery, And then we get to the contingencies, and game contingencies are like sitting in a recliner watching Cake Boss. All right. And then you get to the litigation and asset retirement obligations, and maybe I'd throw the loss contingency. Not that bad, but it's like a small mountain on a warm day. And then the warranty and premiums, you're getting more into a medium mountain, sort of in a rainstorm, but then you're back to watching Cake Boss at the end. All right, so that's sort of what you have to expect from this chapter. Liabilities, it's kind of the assets are what we have, liabilities what we owe, what we own. Just reviewing the basic definition, your liabilities, they're obligations owed to outsiders, and it can be a promise to pay money, it can be a promise to provide goods or services, or other, various other assets. And it can be certain or contingent. We have contingent liabilities. It doesn't have to be a definite bill that you have to pay. Someone could have slipped on the banana peel, and you know that you're probably going to have to pay out sometime in the future. That would be a contingent liability, and those we also, we will record those on the books if appropriate. Okay, so liabilities generally classified in the U.S. GAAP in order of decreasing liquidity. So the ones that are due first are reported first. Your long-term bonds and pensions are reported later in the section. Classify as current or non-current. And then sometimes it's good to really get the characteristics down because it helps you with the homework. And it helps you just to know it. So it can require a company to pay out cash, transfer other assets, or to provide a service. So you have your unearned revenue is a liability where the company's paid, but you owe the work. The company owes the work. It doesn't need to have a contract or be legally enforceable, and you don't need to know the exact timing of the payment, just that it's going to have to be made. So and this is where you get a little technical. A liability, it's a present obligation to be settled by a probable future, it doesn't have to be definite, probable future transfer of cash, goods, or services. It's not avoidable, though. And it results from a past transaction or event, something that has already happened. Okay, what else do we need to know here? So in summary, it's like a present responsibility to sacrifice assets in the future as a result of a past event or transaction. Okay, so it's kind of good to get the definition of all this down before we get into what is a current liability.